Hey everyone, welcome back to Fridays with Dannphan. We're in a new, slightly shittier location for this streaming. I'm extremely close to where the Wi-Fi comes from, so that should be good for connection type of problems. But how's everybody doing this wonderful Friday, I guess? It doesn't feel like Friday. It still feels like kind of midweek to me. But yeah, it is technically Friday. Woo! And that means we do the Friday with Dannphans. So, how's everybody been, huh? Yeah, this is not my favorite place to record. There's not a whole lot I can do about the lighting. Every single light is on. For some reason, this particular camera, it readjusts to make everything darker all the time. It's like, all the time, yeah, basically it. Like there's a lamp over there that I put in front of me because I thought, oh yeah, this'll make the lighting better. If there's just a bright light right in front of me, naturally, one would reach that conclusion. I put the bright light right in front of me, and it makes it look darker. Why? What causes this to happen? Nobody knows. It's just the weirdness of this camera, and because it's also slightly darker, it's having like difficulty focusing on me. So if the image is slightly blurry, boom, it's the camera's fault. What can I say? Is this the infamous mouse filming area? I don't know what that means. Is that a Disney reference? I have no idea. Does your camera have an auto ISO setting? I don't know. I can't get to the settings in this camera, honestly. It's not like the camera didn't come with an app or anything so that I could adjust the settings. It's just like kind of always auto. But what are you gonna do? Yeah, you can see it. You can see it while I'm filming in videos as well, where the lighting will just all of a sudden super shift really hard. When I just move around normally, it just like shifts crazy from dark to light or light to dark, etc. I don't really understand it, honestly. I'm not a camera person, I'm not a lighting person, clearly. But I'm not gonna bother getting the lights from upstairs and trying to set something up. We already started, you know? It's live. I ran out of time, it's live. We're already starting the stream. This is what you get. Check under settings to see if set to auto, then set that up. There is no settings, as far as I know. Let me see. Maybe there's settings in Streamlabs? No, there's not. There's no settings in Streamlabs. The only settings is what camera you have on, and if you want to mirror the camera, touch up my appearance. I'm not clicking on that. That sounds like some weird Instagram filter shit. Yeah, I got nothing. I got nothing. I mean, maybe there's... No, there's nothing. I think this is just one of those super normie cameras that they just assume that you don't want to fiddle with any settings for, so there is no option to do that in the first place. Like I said, it didn't come with an app or anything for changing up the settings. It's just fucking winging it, you know? It's a Logitech. It's not like a Sony Pro or anything, you know? It's not a super expensive, nice camera that people use for filming. It's just like some shitty webcam that just so happens to be 1080p. But yeah, I like the new location. Well, thank you. We got someone who likes the new location anyways. It'd be a lot nicer if it didn't look like I was in a horror film, but I think it just kind of always looks like that at this point. This camera got them horror film vibes. What can I do, you know? How's everybody doing, though? Hopefully everybody's been okay. David, dude, I was trying to set up the Cricut cutter, like literally just like an hour before going live, but I didn't get it to succeed, obviously. I thought it would be a lot easier than it was. Setting up the Bluetooth was easy, but then it was like you have to install this app, and the app is designed by someone who clearly has not used the product itself. It's probably just like outsourced, designed by someone who thought that they understood every feature that it should have, but it clearly doesn't. So, you know, after like breaking a few things in the house, I've decided to take a break from trying to figure out how to get it to work. It's just one of those things. It seems like it was made with normie people in mind. You print through app but don't have to edit it in. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. So, from what I understand, you take like the like sticker sheet, and then you have to insert like the settings so that you have it so that it prints around the images, right? And I assumed that you do that through the app, but there's just a bunch of features that it doesn't have when you're trying to do that. I can't just import the PDF for printing into the... So it's useless. It's basically a useless app. Like, I just can't do anything that you're supposed to be able to do. But yeah. Please wish me luck meeting someone who looks like you. That's ominous. I wouldn't... Of all things to, like, super chat into the live stream, that is really ominous. But, good luck. Meanwhile, I just look out the window and there's just some guy staring at me. No. Your t-shirt is very cute, and I like new scenario. Oh, I guess because new place recording from. Yeah, it's, you know, it's not that nice, but I appreciate that people are okay with it, at least. There's basically just boxes and random shit behind me, whereas there would usually be nice decoration and posters. So, you know, I got a bunch of, like, failed keychains behind me. Just, like, a pile of stuff that is useless. That's just how it goes sometimes. That's just how life is. You just get a pile of stuff that's useless. Is this going to be a permanent new place? No. This is just the downstairs. Adam, I usually record in the bedroom, right? But Adam's sleeping. So now I'm just recording downstairs. I did not move. This is not like... I didn't move to a nice house or anything. I'm still in the same shitty house. This is where I work and also do, like, the gaming streams. I sit here and I play the game when I'm playing, anyways. But yeah, not the best working location either, because it's basically just a corner that I get for working, and it's basically 5 foot by 5 foot. It's not big by any means. Everything is kind of... You work with what you get, right? You know? I'd definitely like to move into an actual house sometime soon in the future. Now, me and Adam were looking at places. We're at that stage where we're looking, at least. Right now, we're considering buying places for renting out to other people and just living there part-time as an option, you know, for like extra income, invest in property, all that jazz. I don't really know what the future holds exactly, though. I mean, neither of us really make good money, so maybe investing in a property to rent out is a good idea. I don't know, man. Life is difficult. This fucking massive water bottle. It's because the filter isn't working. The filter's broken as shit, and we don't have any clean water, so we have to order like packs and packs of water bottles to not die. So that's what I'm dealing with, right? Luckily, you know, this is not 100% recycled plastic. I don't know if you've ever tasted the difference between like this water bottle, just regular water bottle, right? Versus one that says 100% recycled plastic. But you can taste it. It tastes like a recycled plastic. It tastes like I shouldn't be drinking out of it because it tastes like poison. So, in the future, I'm gonna probably try to avoid any water bottles that say they're made from recycled plastic, because it kind of seems like you shouldn't even be selling that. It kind of seems like it's not even food safe. I would not be surprised if in the future some study came out like, actually, if you drink 100% recycled plastic water bottles, you will die. Die harder than usual. I don't know. Hello, my friend. I pray you guys continue to succeed and can't wait for the Kickstarter success. Can't wait to hold Sonic City Witch in my hands. Hell yeah. Sonic City Witch. Now that's something that I can talk about without being too doomer. You can tell I got myself in a bit of a sour mood after like trying to figure out the cricket cutter, but we can totally talk about the Sonic City Witch. The Kickstarter has officially launched on this one, whereas previously it was just the pre-order page. Now we got the Kickstarter up, so that's exciting. There's 3 original art pieces available on the Kickstarter, and there's also the PDF version of the entire graphic novel. It's basically just going to be like what is printed on the graphic novel, but just in PDF form, so you get all like the extra art pieces and all that stuff in the PDF version that you get from the Kickstarter. Eventually I'll have that available on the website as well, but I don't want to... I kind of didn't want to keep up the separate chapters on the website, but because a lot of people have been reading based on buying the separate digital issues, I'll try to figure out something for putting up issue 4 separately, maybe keep them separate for a while and eventually just like do a full PDF, because I think that's just better. I could have both on the website, but they're gonna be different because I have to redo everything for the official version. And all this complicated stuff. This comic has been a long time coming. For 4 years now, this comic has been being made in the background. So there's a lot of complications that came with this, but I'm glad that it'll be done soon and in people's hands, and people will be able to relax and read it all. And thank you, Matthew, for the donation. done amazingly well in comics, but I have friends who are struggling to make it. How can I help them realize it might not be the best path for them? Like comics? Specifically, you have friends that are doing comics and they're struggling to make it work? I mean, like, a lot of people who are in comics don't make a living from it. Even people who are famous. Like, even, like, really hard-hidden professionals in the comics industry, a lot of them don't make a living from it. Which is, like, terrifying to hear. Or at least, like, not the standard of living that I would consider maybe acceptable in the United States. Like, I was watching this one documentary where it's talking about this anime director, and he does, like, so much work, and, like, he, you know, he does well working on anime and stuff, and that seems like a really big job to be an anime director, right? But then he's going over, like, his living situation, and he lives in, like, this very tiny one-room apartment, and doesn't have a car or anything, or he's married, he has that going for him. But, you know, it just doesn't sound like the ideal living situation most people would want. Granted, maybe it's just because of where he needs to live for his job. But, you know, ideally, being a comic person, I'd like to make it work and also have the life that I want. I don't think that the nuclear family American dream is, like, too far out of reach. I don't know. Maybe it's just harder to achieve because of how much life has changed over the years, but yeah, I don't know. How can you help them realize it's not the best path for them? Well, if you're saying that their comic sucks, then you just tell them, hey bro, you know, your comic sucks. It's fucking terrible. Stop it. I don't know, man. There's no, like, easy advice for that. Thank you for the $2. Everything that are recycled is terrible. Well, at the very least, like, you don't want to be drinking from a 100% recycled plastic water bottle. Like, of all things to make from recycled plastic, why would you make it with for something that is going to be touching my lips? For something that I am ingesting? You know what I mean? Because plastic is poisonous. And if I'm not supposed to reuse this bottle, why am I now supposed to pay for a 100% reused plastic? That's what they say. They say that these water bottles are supposed to be a one-time use. So why is the 100% recycled plastic totally fine? I don't think it is. I don't think it is, honestly. And based on how it tasted, it seems like I'm just straight up drinking poison. I don't... Anyway. I know. We're just, like, going on all these different separate rants about random things. Congratulations on the launch. Will the graphic novel be signed by the creative team? Well, it'll be signed by me. Obviously, Alex Lopez, he's, like, very far away. It would be very difficult to get the books to him and then get them back to me to fulfill. But the original art pieces are signed by him. I got a big bundle of them when he sent them over. So, those are signed by him. The comics are signed by me. Got the hiccups now. The Jello Apocalypse video about Welcome to Webcomics was legit about how they make no money. Yeah, you know, Webtoon has not made a profit for a very long time. And you do have to wonder about that. Granted, they have, like, an audience there, I suppose, but yeah, not good money to be made from ad revenue, especially nowadays. I heard from someone if you are making $20,000 a year off of comic, you are doing just fine. There's a reason why most sequa students are trying to get into animation. Yeah, well, you know, lol, harsh. They keep trying, but no matter how hard they try, it's just not very good. Man, that's brutal at taking criticism. Because that's also something to consider. Sometimes the reason why people don't actually get anywhere or get any better is because they're not listening to criticism and then taking the proper steps to improve where they have problems. But I've read, so I read like a lot of comics, including indie comics, right? And sometimes I read something that's just like not good, but has the potential to be better in the future. And those I'm much more lenient on. Those I have like kind of a bias of being like, well, it's not good, but I see that they are learning. I see that they have the potential to write something good in the future. And that makes me a little bit more like passable when it comes to like stuff that I review, right? Because hardly anything I review I actually think is perfect. But when it comes to, there's other comics out there where I read them and I'm like, this is horrible. The person behind it has no talent whatsoever and probably will never get talented ever. like straight up, I have no faith in some of the people who are behind these comic books. No faith whatsoever. Avengers Academy? None. No faith. Like, maybe the artist will get better, but that writing is just like, it's not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. Zatanna? It's not gonna happen. The Jewel of Gravesend? Yeah, you're done. You're Dunyan Rings. But yeah, not everybody was meant to write. I was sent like a book from somebody at some point who was like the way that the message was just worded, you know, I don't know if it's just like trying to distracted by reading. I need to, like, when I'm trying to form a sentence, I need to turn away from the chat so that I'm not super distracted and can actually complete a thought. Yeah, I at one point received like a book from somebody who was writing something or had written something, and it's one of those books that they're like, I wrote this when I was a teenager, and then I went back and I tried to rewrite some sections of it now, and, you know, it's something that I'm just doing for fun. I'm not expecting to get rich off of this type thing, but let me know what you think. And I read it, and it just strikes me as someone who doesn't really read a lot of books and doesn't really understand how to make them. Like, it's the very bare basics of a story. It's basically an outline. Like, what I'm actually reading from them was basically an outline of a story, but it's not written like a story would be written. It's just like, it's very odd. Like something you might find from, you know, websites like fanfiction.net when that was a thing, where everybody was just uploading their own little web novels. And, you know, some people are just like that, where a lot of people like to write because it's an outlet, it's a creative outlet for them. But just because you like it doesn't mean that you necessarily understand what makes it skillful or what could make it enjoyable for other people to read. Like, it could be very well enjoyable for you to read, but that doesn't mean that everybody else, the audience, would have that same experience reading it. Hey, Mark Schaefer, Dannphan, I missed 2 weeks, and there's a new comic. Am I seeing this right? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, keep in mind, this is, well, it's new, right? So, Sonic City Witch is actually a comic I started 4 years ago. It was a while ago, right? I keep on repeating that because it's just like, it's crazy how much time has passed by. And this story has changed quite a few times from its original conception. But now we're finally finishing up the last chapter of the comic. And so we'll be ready to print it and actually have it in people's hands. Some of you have been keeping up with the digital versions where they're separate issues that I've uploaded onto burningstarcomics.net. Those are all, they're all digital and they're all separate. And I was uploading like one each year for a while. I uploaded 3, so if you want to figure out how it ends, you should be backing the campaign or pre-ordering it, because yes, I do also additionally have pre-orders available directly on the website where you can order it, and exclusive to the website, I'll offer you the poster free as incentive to buy directly from me instead of going to a third-party website. Good stuff, right? Good stuff. Oh, this says convert PDF to SVG in order to use Cricut Design Space. I mean, I'll give it a shot. I just needed to take a break. I just needed to, it was really frustrating, you know? Because, you know, I'm printing the sticker sheets out from an actual printer, so it has to be this size. And then, like, it gives me all this flack about printing it at that size. It's really annoying. But, yeah. I'm also losing faith in people who complain about grifters these days too. The issue about people who complain about grifters is just that you can claim that any grifter if they try to sell you something. Like, as soon as they try to sell you something, you can that they're a grifter. Although I've heard people call other people grifters who are not even trying to sell something. They're just claiming that they're doing it for attention, even if they're not getting any financial gain from it. So it's kind of a loosey-goosey word. Is this graphic novel a complete story arc? Will there be a sequel? This is going to be the complete story arc. So there was going to be 4 chapters and 4 issues separately. But now this is the combination of all 4, and so this will be the full story. And I don't have any plans for a sequel. At one point in time, I thought about doing a spin-off within the same universe, but I've dropped that idea since then. And I don't really have much plans to pick that up. But yes, this will be a full story. I like doing the full stories, right? The only thing that I want to be an ongoing series forever and ever at this point in time of my own work is Reaper. I want Reaper to be the ongoing series. And even the Reaper books, I want them to each be like separate stories that connect on one story, on one much longer story arc. Similar to manga, but the difference is you can never buy a book where nothing happens. Because that is the most frustrating thing for me when it comes to manga, is when I buy a book and nothing happens except they're just running around and lore dumping, and it's just boring, right? It's just like, why did I even buy this volume, eh? But Reaper, I want to be different. I want that to have multiple short stories that connect to each other on a much bigger story arc. A very big story arc, right? Because I want this to go on for as long as possible. But yeah. I subscribed years ago and never thought you do interact with no money super chat. Yeah, I mean, like, I read whatever I think is interesting on the screen. Yeah, whatever. I'm gonna pre-order from the website too soon. Can't wait to read. Yeah, me too. I gotta, the one thing that's like really getting me down, the only thing really that's getting me down about Sonic City Witch is I have to redo a bunch of work. Remember when I lost my hard drive literally during me doing the Horizon Quest comic? Ugh. But I think it was before I officially announced it, so you guys didn't even know that it existed. I lost everything on that hard drive, and that includes the Clip Studio files for Sonic City Witch. So now I have to redo all of the shading and the lettering, and it's just going to be a pain. Unfortunately, there's no way around that. I just have to redo it again, and it just kind of has to be a pain. But I've already redone most of it, or at least I've redone most of the redone most of the shading. I think I just have like the last chapter to do as far as shading goes. And then what's going to be more time consuming is probably going to be redoing the lettering. The shading was honestly kind of therapeutic in a way. So I got most of that done fairly quickly, but man, lettering is this whole other ball game. Not only because I have to redo a lot of the word bubbles all over again, retype everything from scratch, right? But in addition to that, typo checking. I gotta make sure that I didn't retype something completely wrong. Ugh. Adam is an editor. He's usually the editor that gets paired with me when it comes to the comics that I put out. He actually helped, like, kind of, in a sense, co-write the last 2 issues of Sonic City Witch, or the last 2 chapters, because the ending actually changed from its original conception. But he's usually okay at catching typos, but sometimes because it's in a comic-y type of font, it becomes a little bit more difficult for him to catch a typo. While as me, who I'm used to reading it more often, so I'm a little bit better at catching typos, but you're always worse at catching typos for your own work. It's just how it goes. So I'll have some people beta read it too, although I very rarely get any beta readers to catch typos for me. It's only after I publish it. It's always after I publish it, all of a sudden people start pointing out the typos. It's like, what? I had people read it beforehand. Why? Why didn't anyone say anything? Anyway, sorry, I'm behind on chat. I'm super behind on chat. So let me get to pulling up some of these super chats. Order from your website if I heard you properly. You get all the proceeds. Also, this is better. I tweet as such. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Mark. Really appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, that's basically just the incentive of me letting you get the poster for free if you pre-order directly on the website. Also, the pre-orders will be open for longer on the website. I'll basically just be keeping them open, right? Until I have the books and everything. While as the Kickstarter is closing in 30 days. Or less than 30 days, because it's already been up since yesterday. But, you know. Are you still reading Chainsaw Man? Your opinions on current events? I am reading Chainsaw Man. It's been pretty crazy recently with Chainsaw Man chapters, hasn't it? Interesting. I'll give it that. It's really interesting. We've kind of reached like the climax, it feels like. So I'm wondering, are they going to take this down a notch? And are we going to get like another brief period of calmness? Or is this the build-up to the official end? I don't actually know if the writer has stated that he planned to end Chainsaw Man soon, but it kind of does feel like that way, doesn't it? And there's a lot of more that I wanted from it, a lot more stuff that I wanted to be in part 2 that I just kind of never got to see. So I hope that if it is ending soon, there's just a little bit more there somewhere, you know? I don't know, maybe we'll get another brief period of calm. Maybe we'll get one of those, I don't know. I don't know where they're gonna go with this now. Oh, thanks for the super sticker. Although it doesn't show up on StreamYard. Just hoping there's no shenanigans from Kickstarter. It's already been quite shenanigans, it feels like. I'm already, like, bashing my head against the wall from Kickstarter. If I am to be perfectly honest with you, I don't know if using Kickstarter in general makes me honest. Because it kind of feels like it. Do you know that, like, when you're launching your Kickstarter campaign, they give you an option to state what your, like, gender and race is, so that they can provide more equitable outcomes for who gets promoted on Kickstarter, I guess? It's like, what? Is this legal? It's fucking weird as shit, man. I don't like that at all. So I didn't put anything in. I'm just out of my own pride, I didn't put anything in. Maybe they would have promoted my Kickstarter more if I at least told them that I was a woman. They'd fucking blast some woman owned on top of my fucking comic. It's just annoying. I don't like it, you know? Anyway. Oh, where do you find beta readers? Well, it's normally just people that I vaguely know. It's mostly friends, honestly. But I don't know. I'd like to ideally get, like, people who vaguely know about writing, maybe just vaguely know about writing, or are very good at pointing out typos or grammatical mistakes or past and present tense type stuff. I'd like to ideally get more of those people to beta read my comics, of course, right? Because they're going to give you the best call-outs when it comes to stuff that doesn't add up. But it is useful just to get any generic comic reader to look at it. Not only because they're used to reading comics, but because it is representative of your general audience. But yeah. I just happened to catch a typo for you on Subscribestar preview page once. Yeah, that is useful though. That is genuinely useful. I was pretty upset to find out that Reaper had 2 typos in it. It was... Granted, there's a lot of pages in Reaper, so there's a lot of text that you have to catch typos for. It is the longest book that I've done a printing for. I just wish that we had caught those typos before it went to printing. I'll have to do a second edition at some point. I'm already planning ahead, right? Thinking about, like, second editions that I'm gonna do for the Reaper series. And I think I'll probably do one of those things where I'll slightly change the second edition to improve it, including, of course, fixing the typos, but maybe also improving the art a bit and, trying to fix some mistakes here and there with that. Can I be an alpha reader? I speak English. Yeah, we'll get the beta readers and the alpha readers. There we go. Not sure how well its reach will be on Kickstarter, but Kickstarter's cut may be an issue. Oh yeah, it's the worst. It's genuinely the worst. And I also don't really like their design as much as Indiegogo's. If Indiegogo didn't fuck me over on my last comic campaign, I would still be using them, because I actually really like the organization that Indiegogo has for creating a campaign and fulfilling it, and all the tools that they have available are genuinely very good. But why did you not post my comic on Indiegogo's page? I don't get it. Ugh. I want to use it, but I can't, because I don't even know if I can really use Kickstarter, to be honest, because they're kind of commie, you know? It's kind of just how it is. But yeah, they took like 20% of somebody's campaign? Really? Because the number that they quote is like 5 to 10% of your campaign is getting taken away from you from Kickstarter. It is really high compared to Indiegogo. But goddamn, 20%. That's just straight up theft. Like, how can they do that? Jeez. Is the Sigma reader position filled? Have you tried Fund My Comic? I have not. But that is my next option for sure. I think once I'm done with this, whatever next comic I need to fund for, I'll probably just go to Fund My Comic. The only thing about it is that there's not exactly a huge audience on Fund My Comic. Most of the comics I see there are kind of just doing very middling, very, very okay-ish. But the nice thing about it is that it's completely focused on selling comics, and I like that. I like that that's the focus of the whole site is just crowdfunding comics. Granted, I'd like to also crowdfund animations in the future, but we'll get to that, we'll get to that when we get to that. Oh, what's up, Brian? Just got recommended this via the algorithm. What's going on? Oh, we're talking about comics and stuff. I do my own comics, so I'm talking about the logistics behind crowdfunding, and where is the best crowdfunding site to crowdfund your own comic? This is mine. Sonic City Witch graphic novel, available now on Kickstarter, and also available for pre-order on my own website. And yeah, that's basically what we're talking about right now. You're all caught up officially. Yeah, I think I will go to Fund My Comic next time. People are always recommending to me Kickstarter. Have Kickstarter accounts, right? That's another thing that they have over other people. It's because Kickstarter was the first really big popular place to crowdfund stuff. A lot of people have already made Kickstarter accounts. It's more convenient for them to just use the account that they already have to buy something. But when it comes to like pre-ordering directly from my website, for example, you have to put all your information in. It's not, unless you've ordered from my website before, then it usually saves your basic information. But if you haven't ordered from my website before, you have to put all your information in for the first time when you're checking out. And that's a big hassle, it's a small thing, but that will convince someone not to bother with something. And it's the same thing with Fund My Comic. Because it is a new site, and not a lot of people have used it yet because it's unfamiliar, and not a lot of people have accounts with the Fund My Comic site, people would probably be more inclined to go to Kickstarter to back someone's campaign, even if Kickstarter is not a very good website, just because they have an account with Kickstarter already. You know what I mean? But yeah. Will there be a Funko Pop of your main character? Not today. You know, me and Alex did talk about making a Hazel bust. I did have like a really cool idea for it, right? But we just never went through with the idea. Like he did like a sketch what it would look like, but it just, we have a 3D printer, right? So we could have printed it out if we had like a 3D model made for it. But it just seemed kind of difficult to make something that was supportless, or at least mostly supportless. Because of how 3D printers work. It's a whole other thing that I would have to explain to you if you don't know much about 3D printing. But yeah, it's difficult to print out every 3D model. Some of them have to be specially catered to being printed out through a 3D printer. Are cons a good way to get business? Good question. I'm not 100% sure. I've sold at a bunch of conventions, and I plan to continue to go to conventions and hopefully get better at them, because I don't really sell that good. Like, gotta be honest with you guys, I'm very shy, and I'm not good at selling my own stuff. I would even argue on this channel, I'm not very good at selling my own stuff. I might be actually better at selling people on other comics than I am at my own stuff. I'm just too shy, too transparent, too nervous when talking about my own comics. And I feel like it just shows through, and maybe it scares people away. Maybe it convinces people that if I'm not confident in my own product, then it must not be good. And you know, it's just one of those things. I want to get much better at selling though in the future, and hopefully do better at conventions in the future. I also want to improve what our table looks like so that it looks much nicer, hopefully, so people will be more inclined to come up. But yeah, if all else fails, you can just use your website. That's absolutely true. And that is the great thing about having your own website for something. Is there login accounts on your website? Yes. Yes. So if you buy something from my website, you have the option to save your information. And then you can log back in when you want to buy something new, and you won't have to worry about putting in your information all over again. And obviously that's the information that isn't your address is like hidden from me. So it's not like I get that. You don't have to worry about it. Fund my commie book. Yeah, there you go. But you know, I think the Richard C. Meyer drama is what gave Kickstarter a black eye, but Indiegogo isn't the best alternative. Yeah. Well, I really like it. As I said, I like the interface, right? I like how they have everything organized, and it's easy to use. I would actually say it's easier to use than Kickstarter. I like it significantly better than Kickstarter. But they shadow banned my comic for no reason. No reason. I didn't upload any controversial content whatsoever. Not that that's a good enough reason to shadow ban someone's comic in the first place, but when I was doing the Reaper campaign, I didn't upload anything controversial. And there's nothing about the comic itself that's controversial. So it was just random. They didn't notify me or give me any reason for why it didn't show up in the comic section. I just don't know. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Doesn't matter, I guess. Yeah, it's just one of those things. Sorry, I missed a couple of super chats. I'm gonna go over them right now, so don't you worry. Hey, Marshalt, do you know how many people have bought comics from you just from them finding them on a crowdfunding site versus having watched your YouTube videos? Easy question. most, probably 90%, stupid Windows update, let me just, another time, please. 90%, I would say, have backed my comics because of me promoting it, rather than them finding it on the website itself, on the host, I would say. I would say something like that. Maybe 80 to 90% are just backing it because they found it through my YouTube or my social media, and not necessarily because they found it through browsing a third-party website. That's part of the reason why I think Kickstarter, the whole idea of, oh, Kickstarter has such a big audience on there, so clearly, you know, it's the best place to get promotion for your campaign. I don't really think that's true, because I think the idea of Kickstarter promoting your campaign in the first place is basically fictional. I think it's mostly going to be you promoting your campaign. Additionally, I think Kickstarter will only put your campaign on the front page if you fill out their form that says you're diverse, because they want more equitable outcome, or whatever they said. So I don't have any faith in, I don't have any faith, really, in people discovering my comics through a crowdfunding site. Not that I don't think it'll happen. It happens. It does happen. But that's not the majority of how it goes down, you know? I know, Geese, you seem real and raw with the process. Geese, how dare you? What is that? Is that G's? Or... but yeah. Cool stream. I'll probably watch the VOD later. Well, I'll see you later, my dude. Yeah, all these super chats could have gone to buy your new graphic novel instead of 30% going to YouTube. I don't think most people know that when they super chat on YouTube, YouTube takes 30%. Because usually there's the assumption that you're basically just donating the money, and you think maybe YouTube takes like a 5% cut. But 30% is genuinely a lot. I don't know why. I don't know why YouTube takes so much from super chats. But it is crazy. Would you ever collab with Jester Bell? You both have interesting takes on pop culture. I don't know who Jester Bell is. Maybe I've seen their channel around. Maybe if I type it in, I'll recognize them. Let me see. Oh, this is a girl, I think. No, I've never seen this channel before. Oh, I guess they're new, right? They haven't been really going at it on the YouTube. But it's fairly easy to pop off if you just talk about like social justice in current day media. Immediately your channel blows up on YouTube. It feels like, anyways. Thank you, Matthew. Creative types are usually introverted, so they're the worst salesmen. It's tragic, yeah. People would think that I'm extroverted because of how I'm able to easily talk in front of the camera. But I've been doing this for years, making videos like this, and I didn't always used to be so decent at talking on the spot, right? That's something that I've been able to build up and accomplish over time. And in a lot of ways, I've kind of utilized talking to the camera to teach myself how to talk to people in real life. But you wouldn't like think of it this way, but I also think the people that I'm around have helped me kind of come out of my shell, because I used to be really, really badly introverted, especially throughout my entire high school years. High school was the worst time of my life for me. I can't speak for everybody, but I would assume that most people say that like high school is the worst. So yeah, I was really bad at talking to people and making friends throughout most of my life, really. And it's only after I started to date Adam, believe it or not, he kind of, in a way, helped me to figure out how to talk, how to communicate in a lot of ways. And we've made friends together. We have like really good friends, and you know, life's been good overall. It's been a lot better now that I kind of come out of my shell, and I'm slowly figuring out how to talk, how to make friends, how to behave in social situations. But yeah, for sure, I still have a ways to go when it comes to actually learning how to sell. I'm selling, but I'll figure it out with time, just like how I figured out how to make friends in time. It took me like, 20 years to figure out how to make friends? So here's to another years of trying to figure out how to sell to people. Thanks, Mark. I was commenting on how you explain your development process. That is what makes you refreshing. It is why I stick around. Also, your books are good. Thank you. It's so nice. It's so nice of you. Yeah, in general, like, even with comics, I was not always good at making comics, but you know, it comes with practice and time and figuring out where you need to improve and then focusing on those things and doing something about it, basically. There's so many people where they don't know. It's like, oh, I'm bad at drawing heads. I guess I'll just draw less heads in my next comic. And it's like, no. You're taking a shortcut. You gotta learn how to draw the thing that you're bad at drawing. And it's the same thing with writing. If you have difficulty, like constructing scenes, or you know what I mean. You work on the things that you're bad at. You don't avoid them, is what I'm saying. I hated my high school years. Everyone there, save a few people, were insufferable assholes who treated everyone like shit. Yeah, that's teenagers for you. Teenagers watching. But alright, let me get a drink in. That's good. That's good stuff. Man, it's so hot today. Oh yeah. Very hot outside. I actually, before I was messing with the Cricut cutter, right, and before I started the stream, I went out for a walk, because I really like going on walks. I even made a tweet about how much I like going on walks when the weather is just right? I should have looked at the temperature outside, because it was way too fucking hot. It's just way too hot outside for going on a walk. And you know, it's funny, I could kind of tell as soon as I stepped outside that I probably should not be walking in that weather. 'Cause my skin just instantly started burning. It felt like I was cooking. Like, you know, like steak in the oven. It felt like immediately fucking somebody's burning me with a magnifying glass. But I went on a walk anyway. I did it anyway. It's funny, it was cloudy outside. And just the sun through the clouds, it felt like it was burning my skin. That's just how fucking hot it was, you know? And then when I came back from the walk, I took a hobo shower to clean myself a bit up. And then I tried to work on setting up the Cricut cutter. And then I streamed! Yay! And that's how we're here today, folks. No, you're fair-skinned. What were you thinking? Yeah, exactly, right. Well, I don't think I got burned, but yeah, I could have gotten burned on the top of my head, actually. You never think about the top of your head. You never think about that part. But yeah, that gets burned. Are you a vampire? Maybe. Maybe. It's very possible. I do have fangs. So, there you go. I'm a vampire. The sun burns me up when I step outside. Yeah, I'm just so happy to be out of high school. Now I just have to deal with university, and then I'm done and can do something with my life. Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah, man. I mean, people complain about college, too, of course. They say college, in a lot of cases, is just as bad as high school, with people just acting like immature assholes. For sure, for sure. My college was not very bad. I went to a public college, right? Not a private, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Usually people say that, like, the public colleges are worse than the private ones, but it was actually pretty okay. You know, my own personal experience, it was actually pretty alright. People there, for the most part, students going there, like, kind of kept to themselves. There was no dorms on the property for the college, so there's no, like, people getting drunk and causing trouble on campus or anything. And for the most part, politically it felt balanced, which is not something you normally hear about colleges, but the public college that I went to, it was pretty balanced. The college that I tried going to before that, very left-wing. And Adam's private college that he went to, super duper left-wing, that it's actually impossibly insane how left-wing Adam's college was. There were actual professors there recruiting people to a communism movement. Not lying. So, you know, in looking back at that, I'm really lucky to have gone to that college as opposed to another one. Hey Michael, is a signed book only available on Kickstarter and not the website? No. If you pre-order on the website, you will also get your copy signed, and you'll get a free poster. The free poster is, it's a website exclusive deal, but yes, you'll get your copy signed if you pre-order from the website. So, that is my deal to you. College is better than high school because you aren't forced to go there. You know what? Good point. Good point. That is because you're paying to be there, so you get a little bit of leverage on how you're treated there. And that is a very good point. Whereas when you're a teenager going to high school, it feels like you have no control over anything. Everyone is especially the teachers there, are constantly trying to exact control over you. So that can be a really frustrating experience. I can't imagine that does very good things to the hormones in general. But, you know. So, talk a little bit about Sonic City Witch, I suppose, since that is basically the topic of the stream, is the fact that I launched the Kickstarter. Oh, we actually got another backer since I started streaming. Nice. Cool stuff. Yeah. I wish that my website updated backers as quickly as Kickstarter does. It takes a while for it to update, but I am including the sales from the Kickstarter also onto the website. It's all like just collectively. And the goal that I set for the Kickstarter is actually just basically the goal for getting it printed. Basically, it's a little bit less. It's a very modest goal, right? The pre-order page is a little bit more honest. What I need to actually get is at least 200 books sold for this comic to break even, essentially. So that's like the real goal. But ideally, I would also like to just, in general, make a bare minimum of 200 sales per book I put out. Because, I mean, if you can't get past 200 sales, it's not going to work out for you in the long run, you know? We gotta increase those sales as time goes on and not decrease. Naturally. I know I'm blowing your mind with this crazy information. But, yeah. Just pre-order the book on your site. Thank you, my dude. Awesome. So, yeah. I do want to take a little bit of time to talk about the comic in general. Give you guys some backstory as to when I made this comic and kind of just the general idea that I had for it. So, I like fantasy, and at the time, one of the big things that was the topic of discussion was cyberpunk, the cyberpunk game coming out, right? Obviously, I feel like I'm a little bit late to capitalize on all the hype that was happening around that game, but, you know, we're combining some fantasy themes with cyberpunk themes. So this idea is that it's a futuristic city, fantasy city, obviously. Does not exist in real life, probably never will, but it's called Sonic City. And we have non-magic users, which are, for lack of better term, just called humans. And then the magic users, witches and wizards, right? So it's sort of combining this idea of technology versus magic. And I went a little pop culture-y with some of the interpretations of like what witches and wizards would be like, especially with the witchy hats and, you know, they have the pumpkin explosives and stuff like that. I wanted to really lay down aesthetic over anything else. This page. I love this page where they're just going at it. Fucking good stuff right here. Anyway. So, very basic idea. I made this during a very different, what's the word I'm looking for? Very different period in time in general, because it was originally written like 4 years ago, and it has changed a little bit from its original conception, but the overall idea has been the same. Oh yeah, this is the pinup. This is the pinup, by the way, if you were wondering. Very good. Very good. Done by Andrew Jacobs. He is a masterpiece artist. He should do more art, honestly. I follow his social media accounts. I hardly ever see him upload, but man, he could have like a really great career in art. Because this is fantastic. Oh yeah, and then these were the original art pieces. 1, 2, 3. As you can see, we got a little bit saucy with them. We got a little bit saucy with some of these, huh? This one is normal, and then we got Hazel laying around in her underwear, and then we got the saucy cyborg, just kind of, you know, coming out of the locker room, checking herself out. If you're into that, of course. All up to you. But, yeah. So the general idea behind Sonic City, which I don't even know if... Maybe I would call this maybe, how do I explain this without sounding weird? I might say that this is the most normie comic that I've done. Maybe? Does that make sense? Normie? Is that the right word? It's a comic that I made for, like, basically with the idea of, will everyone be able to enjoy this? But I think that it turned out pretty good. All things considered. I think it's not... You see what I mean when I say that I'm bad at selling myself? Look at me right now, I'm struggling here. And I like the comic, I wrote it, but I'm still so terrible at, like, explaining, like, what was going on with it, you know? I'm terrible, I'm awful, I'm sorry. But yeah, obviously this is a collaborative project. I didn't do the art, Alex Lopez did the art. He did a fantastic job. I'm so surprised. Nobody knows about this guy. But hopefully more people will know that this artist out there exists, because he deserves like a huge following. I need to tag him more often in my posts, People go Alex Lopez, he's fantastic. But obviously, a lot of the comics I'm going to do moving forward are going to be with my own art, which may be a little bit more rough. The only thing that I can really take credit for when it comes to art in Sonic City Witch is that I did do this shading that we see here, like the gray tones. I did those, I added those in, whereas originally it was just the line art. And I also did, of course, the lettering. And I have to redo a bunch of lettering because of the hard drive failure. But we'll get to that when we get to that, you know? One thing at a time, guys. Still remember when the Horizon Quest campaign launched, some of the original art pieces sold out in like 20 minutes. Oh yeah, you know, I think you're right. I think the original art pieces already sold. I only added 3 on here, but maybe I should have added more. Sold. Yeah, they're all gone, guys. Sorry to break it to you. They're all gone. It makes sense. They're really nice looking. They are. But if you are still looking for other original art pieces that you could get for Sonic City Witch, I do also have original art pieces on the website itself. Those are the ones that were exclusive to this campaign. Those 3 are the ones that I set aside for the campaign. But if you go to comics.net, you might notice under art, there is a section that says original art. And there's also posters, but my posters don't sell as much as I wish that they did. We got some pretty sick posters. You should check them out. You know what it is? People are into prints these days. They're into like more thicker, high quality type of artwork to hang on the wall. So I think that's why posters don't sell as well as they used to. But yeah, you just click on original art and check it out. Look at all the original art we have. We got some, oh, sexy Hazel over here. Yeah, we got some art by Alex Lopez on the original art section. Got a bunch of art by Alex Lopez here. Not those specific art pieces that you saw in the campaign, but there is more. And maybe I still have some that I haven't added to the website yet. Maybe I'll add those later. Because I don't have all of them up on the website either. But I do have one of Hazel and one of Silverman that I don't have listed here. So maybe that is something I should do. You know, if you're into owning original art pieces, of course. They're not all as saucy as the ones that I put up on this Kickstarter. It's almost like I saved the saucy ones specifically for the Kickstarter, because I knew, like, oh yeah, somebody's really gonna like this one. You know? But most of the ones that I have are, like, pretty tame. Pretty normal, you know? So, yeah. Luckily I got that Harkon piece, huh? Yeah, there you go. Oh, I should do another Harkon piece for the website, put that up there. Because I've done Genwin, Astrid, and Elanwi, but I haven't done Harkon. Haven't done Vera either, but I don't know how interested people are in a Vera piece. I don't know. Harkon, it makes sense, because he's awesome. He's the best psychopath. But yeah. What's up, Dannphan? As a relatively new Christian, the witch stuff makes me uneasy, haha. Oh yeah. A lot of it is honestly just for aesthetic purposes. I make a distinction between, like, normal magic and black magic. And the main difference between the two is, you know, normal magic, it's just like taking magic from nature, etc., right? And then the black magic is actually sacrificing someone to do a much stronger custom spell, you know? And that is much more dark, obviously. And black magic is forbidden among modern day, you know? It's illegal. Gee, I won't be illegal to sacrifice someone to cast a spell. But yeah, so it's one of those things. And of course, I guess the villains are kind of the witches in this specific scenario. As you can see, you know, blowing up a cop car, not cool. Not a cool thing to do. But I understand. The pentagram thing, I think actually when it's on its side like that, it's supposed to mean something else as opposed to just being a straight star. But I'm not metal enough to really know. Adam explained it to me at one point. Let me look it up. I didn't do the logo, by the way. I hired somebody else to do the logo with a general idea of like what it could be. No, I don't see anything that explains. Okay, Satanism is inverted pentagram, but that's not really what this is. Because it's kind of tilted, you know? Yeah, I don't see anything where it goes into, like, what a slightly tilted pentagram means. They're definitely not Satanists, as you'll find out when you read the comic, but... Yeah. Yeah, it's just one of those aesthetic things. It's not really supposed to be an endorsement of actual people trying to be witches. Obviously, I mean... pentagram being bad is a modern thing. They used to have them in churches. The idea was to trap and confuse demons. Interesting. That is... There you go. Yeshua with some historic fact. That is interesting, genuinely. It's kind of like the gargoyle thing where they're like meant to scare away evil, but a lot of modern day interpretations of gargoyles are like, oh, they are evil. Look how scary they look. But, you know, just me, I'm a monk. Very cool. But yeah. Sonic City Witch isn't really so much a religious book by any means, as opposed to something like the Reaper series, which is very intentionally putting in Christian themes in it. Just the conception of Reaper in general, you know, it's talking about souls and capturing souls and stuff like that. So very different directions, but both have magic in them, I suppose, yeah. The local church here has all kinds of sigils on it, and one is upside down, an upside down cross. So yeah. It's a little bit peculiar. That makes me feel uneasy, the upside down cross thing. But then again, my introduction to the upside down cross was me looking, briefly watching this one horror movie where that was something that a Satanist did. So, you know, bad introduction to that, to an upside down cross, is seeing a dead body tied to an upside down cross. So that makes me feel uneasy, for sure. Upside down cross is the cross of Saint Peter, actually. That's interesting. Look at us, we're learning things, guys. This is why I really like talking with chat. They know stuff. We all know something unique from each other. We just have to come together and talk. This is so inspiring. Yeah. You know, going back to what I was saying about Sonic City Witch being fairly normie, what I kind of meant by that is that it's sort of, well, granted, you know, it is a story made for teenagers primarily, although it is kind of violent, if we're being honest here. I think teenagers can handle violence. I just question the amount of violence that they can handle. Same thing with sexuality in a comic made for teenagers. I think they can handle some sexy stuff in there. I just think most of us disagree on how much is too much, you know? So, there's that in Sonic City Witch. My recommendation is 14 plus, but if you're willing to read the book first and decide if it's best for your child, then, you know best as a parent, so leaving it up to you at the end of the day. But, yeah. We don't go too heavy on the gore in Sonic City Witch, so that you could say, you know, maybe that's a little bit normie. Don't go too heavy. Most of it is just kind of like shonen-y, if that makes sense, where there's a lot of blood, but there's not a lot of detailed gore, such as like your guts falling out, or I don't know. That's like the only example that comes to mind. Oh yeah, you know what? Doom, that's a good example. But yeah, a lot of the basic idea or premise of like how we conclude the story is trying to find an equal balance. In a way, I'm just thinking about like what other normie content can also say that it's about balance in life, right? Because it's kind of the general idea, is that life is always going to be changing, and it's not a bad thing that life is changing. Which kind of, you know, goes back to the theme of the trailer itself. You know, the lyrics are everything changes. And that's essentially like the heart of Sonic City Witch, is that we're in the future now, things have changed, and we gotta make sure that things change for the better, and not for the worse. And there's a certain sense of, like, togetherness, I suppose, you feel at the end of the comic. Not that I redeem the villain or anything, because I don't like that trope. I'm not really a fan of the redeemed villain trope. So, yeah, he has to die. But you know, you kind of have this sort of hopefulness that everything will work out, and that the city will grow from this experience, and then when they're rebuilding the city, things will ultimately be better. Or at least that's kind of my thought process. Oh yeah, we can watch the trailer for sure. I can play it right on here, I suppose.
Everything changes day after day. Everything changes, although it may stay. Whatever we try and whatever we do, everything changes, just like me and you.
Yeah, so you know what it is. Everything changes. Those are the lyrics. That is kind of the theme of the comic itself. And this is the beatbox remix that I made of the song. Gotta upload a full version in the future. Yeah, I'd like to do more animated trailers in the future. Because obviously I still love animation. Even though I'm doing comics now, obviously I still love animation. And I still want to contribute to doing animation wherever I can. No, it's not me singing. It's an older song, actually. I wrote it that must have been a teenager when I wrote it. But I knew someone who knew someone else who was trying to be a singer, and sent like me playing the guitar audio over to her, and then she sang over it and sent it back to me. Her name's Chloe Yu. I don't believe she has any social media, or at least I couldn't find any social media. I also like got the audio from her a really long time ago, so I don't have her number or anything. I just knew her from somebody else, but I do credit her in the credits of the trailer video. But yeah, except war never changes. Can't go wrong with more optimism in today's world. Yeah. I get what I totally agree with that. That's kind of the idea behind Burning Star Comics, is that I'm trying to add more optimism in the world. Funny part is that the series that I want to focus on is Reaper, and that is what people have said is like my darkest comic yet. But even though it is dark, there is optimism there. Genuinely. It's very, very different, though, from the themes in Sonic City Witch. In a way, you could maybe say that they're a little polar opposite from each other, whereas this comic is more so about like trying to improve the future by finding common ground. Reaper is a lot more about killing demons and evil things. As you'll find out when you get more Reaper books. I'm still working on book 2. Very excited to get book 2 out to people, but it's going to be a while. I will definitely update you guys when I can figure out a good release date. I want to announce the release date when I at least have a draft ready for Reaper. Reaper is fire. Thank you, Yeshua. Thank you very much. Yeah, I wanted to contribute more to stories where killing the demons is the good thing to do. Yeah, no, where demons are actually the bad guys and we fight against them instead of like, there's all these stories nowadays where the plot twist is that the demons were the good guys all along. Oh, we just gotta be friends with demons. It's just stupid. It's stupid. I don't like it. But yeah. What's more annoying? Redeemed villains or obvious twist villains? Redeemed villains. I would argue redeemed villains. And I'm not just saying that because Reaper has an obvious twist villain. No. There's no bias there. No, I don't mind obvious twist villains as much. But when there's a villain that does like crazy evil shit and they get let off the hook for no reason, drives me up a wall. It drives me insane. There's definitely a lot of twist villains that are absolutely pointless and it's like, well, why does it matter? Why did you need to do a twist? But it's not as annoying to me as the redeeming villains that just are crazy. I like mid-fantasy style. In my opinion, it's funner with dragons, demons, and stuff. Yeah. Let me... stupid. I have another, computer over here. That's why I keep on turning this way, because it's trying to update, and I have to keep on telling it, no, don't update. Every single update Windows has is garbage. Every single one. If they didn't force me to update it every now and then, I never... It's awful. Yeah, killing demons always a good time. That's why Doom's so popular. Goddamn right. I love Freeman. I love Freeman, although I gotta admit, I don't know what the heck I don't know what the writer's trying to do with this magic system. I'm very confused, especially with the last chapter. Very confused, but I guess I'll figure that out. I'd love to do a video just talking about that in general, because people are such nerds about magic systems in fiction. And Reaper is a good example of like something that was a really good opening to a magic system, but then just progressively got more confusing as they added more elements to it. So it'd be a good video to make, I think. The only thing I don't like about making those types of videos is people getting really mad for me critiquing anything about a series that they like. I like the series too, so it's okay to critique things that you like. It's okay, guys. We can talk about these things. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's one of those things. Anyway, you know we're actually 30 minutes over the time that we usually spend here on Fridays with Dannphan. Did you know that? But that's okay, because I had a lot of fun talking with you guys. And I liked talking about a little bit more about Sonic City Witch and like what the general idea is, what you're going to get from the comic. Because, you know, don't go. Come on, guys. Don't you got stuff to do? Can't spend hours and hours just hanging out in the Dannphan chat. It's been a good productive stream. Hell yeah, it has. I'm feeling good. And yeah, I don't think we'll do a game stream tonight, unfortunately. Maybe another night. You know, we got some work to be done. Especially, of course, I have to redo work on Sonic City Wish, as I mentioned before. But yeah, whether or not you want to, if you want the book, whether or not you back the Kickstarter or pre-order it from my website, both are good options. Like, obviously, you know, eventually I'll have to like actually hit the goal on the Kickstarter to get any of that money in the first place. But pre-ordering it on my website, you'll get more bang for your buck, because you'll just get the poster for free, and you'll still get your copy signed. I don't know, did I not say... I guess I didn't say that the copy would be signed on the pre-order page, so I should edit the page so that it says that from now on, so that people aren't confused. But yeah, if you pre-order from the website, you'll still get your copy signed. It's basically like just getting the poster tier, but for less money, because it costs me less money if you just order it directly from my website. And I really appreciate it when people are willing to order directly from my website. I don't think I'm an untrustworthy person, so yeah. But if you want to back on the Kickstarter, if you have a Kickstarter account and it's just easier for you to back on the Kickstarter, that's fine too. That's fine too. I understand. I don't like putting in my credit card information over and over again either. I get it. But yeah. Thank you for joining me on another fantastic. Yes, I have to keep to the fan theme, right? Thank you for joining me on another fantastic Friday with Dannphan. We'll see you next week for another great stream. Video to look forward to. One of the videos I have being uploaded this upcoming Wednesday, I believe, is going to be the Constantine DCYA read-through. So get excited for that if you're a fan of DC's Constantine character. That was quite a read-through. But yeah, that video is done and is all set to upload next week. So enjoy. See you next time, guys. Good night. Goodbye.